Warm greetings to each and every one of you. My name is Paul-André Durocher. I'm the Archbishop of Gatineau, and this is the Mass Unconfined, episode 26, where we're going to explore the Eucharistic prayer, at least an overview of the Eucharistic prayer. In the next few episodes, I'll be going more into detail on a few of them individually. The Eucharistic prayer is the second great part of the Eucharistic liturgy as a whole. I've explained already how we repeat what Jesus did the night before he died. He took bread, that's the preparation of the gifts. He gave thanks, that's the Eucharistic prayer. Then he broke it and gave it to his disciples to eat. That's the communion rite. And so we're going to focus on the Eucharistic prayer now. Eucharist, just a reminder, is a Greek word originally, which means a thanksgiving. So when Jesus gave thanks in Greek, the verb that is used is Eucharistein, so Eucharist is from there. And the Eucharistic prayer is that ritualized prayer that we use, that the priest proclaims, and in which the people also are involved through various acclamations, where we give thanks as Jesus gave thanks the night before he died. In the Western Church, the Roman Latin Church, we use the expression Eucharistic prayer. In the Eastern churches, the Orthodox churches, the Catholic Eastern churches, the expression is Anaphora, another Greek word which means to carry up, to lift up. And we know that in the Eucharistic prayer, the initiatory dialogue where we say, lift up your hearts, we lift them up to the Lord. That lifting up is what anaphora means. But anaphora is the Greek expression that remains to designate the Eucharistic prayers in the Eastern tradition. In the Western tradition, we speak of the Eucharistic prayers. So this Eucharistic prayer, just a reminder that it starts with, at the end of the preparation of the gifts, once everybody is standing, and the priest starts, the Lord be with you, and we answer, and with your spirit. And then he goes on, lift up your hearts, we lift them up to the Lord. And until the great Amen, through him and with him and in him. Amen. So that whole section is what we call Eucharistic prayer. Historically, at the beginning of the church, these prayers were simply improvised by the presider, by the leader of the prayer. Those that today we would call priests or bishops, they would improvise these prayers, basically following Jewish patterns of blessing and of thanksgiving. We have, from the first centuries, a few models of those prayers that have been preserved over the centuries, and eventually some texts, how can you say, more official versions of Eucharistic prayers were established in each of the major liturgical centers, in Constantinople, in Antioch, in Alexandria, and in Rome. And in Rome, that Eucharistic prayer became known as the Roman Rule, and the word for rule in Latin is canon. So the Roman canon, or the Roman Rule, it became the prayer that the Pope would use in his liturgies in Rome, and slowly spread throughout the West as the normative prayer that would be used, the one that everybody would use, though there were still regional variations. In France, there was a Gallican ritual. In northern Italy, there was the Ambrosian ritual. In Spain, there was the Mozarabic ritual. All these rituals had their own variations on the Eucharistic prayers. Towards the 16th century, at the Reformation, there was a desire on the part of many bishops throughout the Western Church, to kind of solidify and make all the churches in the West use the same prayer. And the model of the Pope's prayer in Rome was taken as the normative model. And so the Roman canon became the only Eucharistic prayer that was used in the West, except in those places where the Council of Trent said there are traditions that are more than 200 years old. They could keep their traditions. This prayer, the Roman canon, is the one I grew up with as a child. It was the only Eucharistic prayer that was used, and I'll speak about it more in the next episode. But the Second Vatican Council, when it started, when it engaged the reformation of the liturgy within the Roman Catholic Church, the restoration is the better word, the restoration, going back to the roots, it was decided to explore some of those earlier models of Eucharistic prayers, either from the East or from the West, the Anaphoras or the early Eucharistic prayers, and so to offer other models apart from the Roman Catholic, the Roman canon, which remains for us the first Eucharistic prayer. If you look in a missal, Eucharistic Prayer 1 is the Roman canon, which was established as the formal type about 400 years ago for all the Western Church. But we also added 3 other Eucharistic prayers in the late 60s. These 4 Eucharistic prayers then were integrated into the new Roman Missal. Eucharistic Prayer 1, 2, 3, and 4. Most people know 2 and 3. They are those that are most often used within our liturgies, weekday and Sunday liturgies. Eventually, other Eucharistic prayers were approved by Rome, and so we have also 2 Eucharistic prayers for reconciliation. We have 3 Eucharistic prayers for children. There's a special Eucharistic prayer for gatherings that has 4 variants in that Eucharistic prayer. And in French Canada, it's a surprise, but 1 Eucharistic prayer was recognized for weddings. So in French Canada, there's a Eucharistic prayer for marriage. And so what I want to do in the next few episodes is, the next one will look at the Roman canon, which was the form that was used for so many centuries in the Western Church, in the Roman Catholic Church. And then the Roman Latin Church. And then we'll look at Eucharistic prayers 2 and 3, which are those that are most often used. And then we'll look at Eucharistic prayer 4, which is quite beautiful, quite developed, and I think is worth exploring a bit. And then in the episode following that, I'll do a conclusion where I will look at the Eucharistic prayers as a whole and their meaning and place within the celebration of the Eucharist. So I hope you'll join me for these next few episodes. I think we'll learn a lot together. God bless.